Okay, so I didn't die. I actually didn't injure myself at all, but it could have been a lot worse. You'll see when we get to that point in the video. I wasn't gonna post this because it's a failure. Let me back up. It's not a failure. I absolutely carved a circle table. The jig was the failure, but I think there's some good takeaways in the video. I think it's a good example of what not to do. So I did decide to post it. And one thing of note, probably the best thing in the video, I guess, is I was recommended to get a spiral bit. This is a quarter inch diameter, 1 inch bit. It is a solid carbide 2-flute downcut spiral bit. And this was recommended because it cuts a really clean edge, and it did fantastic. So I'll link to this down below. Other than that, watch what this knucklehead does when he tries to build a jig. What's up, guys? On this episode, hopefully short episode of Build That Build, we are going to build a circle cutting jig to use my palm router in. I was going to use my big router because it's a plunge router, but I think I can get the same effect by just lowering this one, and it'll be a little easier to control. I have never made a circle cutting jig before, so wish me luck. I have a sheet of this hardboard that I'm just gonna cut a strip out of, figure out a way to fasten it to my router, and hopefully that's gonna work. If not, we'll try something else. So that is my Series Pro cut right there. I rode up on the blade a little bit and I didn't have the right push stick over there to fix it. So it just kind of did its thing. But we got what we needed, which is this. I was originally gonna mount the router on this side, but this is the smooth side and I think that'll move over the wood better. And then I'm gonna take this mounting plate off and transfer those screw holes to this and then screw this into this, I think. Maybe I'll drill a hole for the bit and then I'll do that. Totally know what I'm doing. I don't think that's gonna work. All right, we scrapped the original plan because those screws just were, there was too much drag coming from the jig when it was going around. And I was afraid that it was gonna give me a more uneven cut. So what we're doing is we're coming in with some 1/2-inch wood screws through the top into the jig. All right, so now we're gonna chuck up our bit. We're gonna measure from the bit to our pivot point and drill a hole. In this case, we want it to be 11 inches because the tabletop is gonna be 22 inches. All right, if that's not the most horrifying thing you've ever seen in your life, I don't know what is. So this part should be pretty straightforward. We just wanna measure from the bit to 11 inches. What you're about to witness is what I like to call the Build That Build redneck clamping system. The key is to just grab whatever you can and screw it in there so it doesn't move. I spun the bit up on the router just long enough to cut just a little circle, and I'm gonna drill it out, maybe. Normally I wouldn't try this on the finished piece, but this is the only piece I have that's this size, so here goes nothing. guys, do not make this jig. That was horribly dangerous. This is way too thin and not strong enough. Look at this. See how that punched out? But hey, all that being said, we did get a circle table out of it. So kids, let this be a lesson to you. Learn from my mistakes and build a better jig. If you guys have built a jig in the past, I'd love to hear about it. Tell me about it in the comments down below. And if there's a circle cutting jig that that's out there that you really like, put that in the comments down below as well. There's a bunch out there. I don't know how many circles I'm gonna cut. I will probably not try to make another jig after this one. I will probably buy one if I need to cut a lot of circles. We will see. But if you got a favorite, let me know in the comments down below. I'd appreciate it. All right guys, so that was just a quick tutorial on how not to build a circle cutting jig. But we have what we came for. We got our circle. I'm gonna sand this down. I'm using this in another project. This video will come out before that other project's done, but when that other project is done, I will link it down below. I'm going to carve a skull into the face of this and light it on fire and put some epoxy in there. It's gonna be crazy. My Punisher skull is lonely, so he needs a friend. Actually, this is gonna be a table. Okay guys, so you can see how that could have been bad. Luckily I had enough of a hold on the router when it jumped to circumvent like hitting anything, but that could have very easily jumped right into me and it could have been a bloody mess. The biggest problems to note were, one, the thickness of the material. I used that hardboard. I don't know why they call that stuff hardboard. It's more like thick cardboard. So that was the first issue. The second issue, not so much an issue if it would have been secured correctly, but I think if I was using a plunge router, usually those routers have, you know, a wider, and I think you can control that. Like moving around the table when you're cutting, not a big deal, but when you're coming across that final cut, you've got way more control over the router if you've got the handles on either side. So maybe it was a mistake to not use my bigger router. It was kind of a lazy move. I just didn't want to take it out of the router table to use it. But like I said, if I was going to do it over again, which I don't know if I will or not, I would use probably 1/2-inch ply or some material that's sturdier for the actual jig, and definitely make sure that you've got a good handhold on that thing and you're well supported when you come across that final piece. A lot of videos I've seen since then, they don't even cut all the way through. A lot of times they finish it off with a jigsaw or something like that. Guys, I hope this helps somebody else out there not run into the same mistakes that I did, and I hope this helps you guys stay a little safer. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments down below if you want to see the failures along with the successes. I feel like sometimes I don't show you guys everything that goes wrong because I don't want you to think I'm a complete bumbling idiot, but some things are, you know, kind of a learning experience as well. And do me a favor and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. And until next time, keep on building. One of these days I'll come up with an outro. Let's get to work.